General Hospital spoilers for the week of March 10th to 14th reveal Curtis is about to find himself at the center of one of the most intense power struggles in Port Charles, as his determination to protect Portia leads him straight into a war against Drew and Selena. What started as a quiet concern has now erupted into an all-out battle, with Curtis realizing that the stakes are far higher than he initially thought. Portia has become an unwilling pawn in a dangerous game, caught between Drew's ruthless manipulations and Selena Wu's expanding influence in the criminal underworld. But if Curtis has learned anything, it's that he refuses to let the people he loves be used or controlled. And this time, he's not going to stand back and watch, he's going to fight back, and he's bringing Carly into the mix to ensure that his counterattack leaves a lasting mark. Portia's troubles have been mounting for weeks. At first, Curtis thought it was just stress, the natural strain of dealing with complicated family dynamics and the usual drama of Port Charles. But as time went on, he saw the signs, the fear in her eyes, the hesitation in her voice, the way she would glance over her shoulder as if expecting something to happen. Then, the truth came out. Drew had been using his newfound power to manipulate people in ways Curtis couldn't ignore. Worse yet, Selena Wu was tightening her grip on Port Charles, spreading her influence deeper into legitimate businesses and forcing people into positions where they had no choice but to comply. And now, somehow, Portia had landed in the middle of their growing empire. Drew, hungry for control, had been pulling strings behind the scenes, using blackmail and deception to push his own agenda. He saw Portia as leverage, someone he could control to keep Curtis distracted while he expanded his own influence. Meanwhile, Selena had her own reasons for wanting Portia under her control. She knew that having a respected doctor in her pocket could open new doors for her empire, and she wasn't above using intimidation to get what she wanted. The weight of both these forces pressing down on Portia was suffocating, and Curtis could see that if he didn't step in now, she would be trapped in their web for good. But Curtis wasn't about to let that happen. He had spent too much time cleaning up the messes of powerful people who thought they could manipulate and intimidate their way to the top. He had already lost too much because of it, and he wasn't going to let Portia be the next casualty. He started planning his counterattack, gathering information, watching Drew's moves, and tracking Selena's business dealings. But he knew he couldn't do this alone. He needed someone who understood the game just as well as he did. That's where Carly came in. Carly had been dealing with Drew long before Curtis got involved. She had seen his descent into power-hungry corruption and had been waiting for the right moment to strike back. When Curtis came to her, looking for a way to take him down, she didn't hesitate. She knew exactly how Drew operated, his strengths, his weaknesses, his blind spots. And she knew that if they worked together, they could not only protect Portia but also cripple Drew's growing influence before it was too late. But this wasn't just about Drew. Selena Wu was a different kind of threat, one that required careful planning and strategic moves. Carly knew Selena well enough to understand that she wouldn't back down easily. She had built her empire through fear and calculated precision, and if they made one wrong move, she would strike back with full force. Curtis, however, was prepared for that. He had spent too much time on the outside looking in, and now he was ready to step into the fight and take control. As their plan came together, the tension in Port Charles continued to build. Drew, sensing that Curtis and Carly were closing in, started making moves of his own, trying to strengthen his hold before they could take him down. Selena, always 3 steps ahead, was watching closely, waiting for the perfect moment to make her move. And Portia, caught in the middle, was struggling to hold on to what little control she had left. Curtis knew that this wasn't just about protecting Portia anymore, it was about making a statement. Drew and Selena had been playing their games for too long, assuming that no one would dare to challenge them. But Curtis was ready to show them just how wrong they were. With Carly by his side, he wasn't just preparing for a fight, he was preparing for victory. The battle lines had been drawn, and the war for control in Port Charles was about to reach a breaking point. Curtis was done being the man who waited in the background. Now, he was stepping forward, ready to take down the people who had underestimated him for far too long. And with Carly backing him up, this wasn't just a fight, it was a reckoning. WSB agent Vaughn has officially arrived in Port Charles, setting the stage for a dramatic shift in Josslyn's world as her training intensifies. His presence is not just a routine assignment, it's part of a much larger game, one that is being carefully orchestrated by Jack Brennan. The stakes have never been higher, and with Josslyn caught in the middle, the situation is about to explode in ways no one saw coming. Josslyn's journey into the world of espionage has already tested her limits, but Vaughn's arrival signals a turning point. He isn't just another instructor, he is a seasoned operative with a reputation for pushing his trainees to their breaking point. His methods are relentless, his expectations unforgiving, and from the moment their training begins, Josslyn realizes that she is about to be tested like never before. Vaughn isn't here to coddle her. He's here to prepare her for the harsh reality of what it means to work within the WSB. And if she thinks this is just another challenge to overcome, she is about to learn that failure is not an option. But while Josslyn struggles to keep up with Vaughn's intense training regimen, the real threat is lurking beneath the surface, Brennan's true intentions. From the beginning, Brennan has had a specific vision for Josslyn, molding her into something she never anticipated becoming. Vaughn's arrival is no coincidence. He has been sent to shape her, to condition her, to ensure that she becomes exactly what Brennan needs her to be. But the question remains, what does Brennan truly want from Josslyn, and how far is he willing to go to get it? As Josslyn is pushed further into the depths of her training, she begins to sense that something isn't right. Vaughn may be her instructor, but there is a distance in his demeanor, a careful detachment that makes her wonder if he is simply following orders rather than guiding her in the way she expected. The exercises become more intense, the lessons more brutal, and the stakes continue to rise. She is being groomed for something big, but the more she learns, the more she starts to question whether she is in control of her own destiny or if she is merely a pawn in Brennan's grand design. At the same time, those closest to Josslyn are beginning to take notice of the drastic changes in her behavior. Carly, ever the protective mother, starts to grow suspicious of Brennan's influence and the impact Vaughn's training is having on Josslyn. Jason, always watching from the shadows, sees the signs of manipulation and knows that something deeper is at play. Both of them begin to investigate, determined to uncover the true purpose behind Brennan's interest in Josslyn before it's too late. Meanwhile, Vaughn himself is not without his own secrets. While he remains loyal to the WSB, there are moments where his resolve seems to waver. Is he fully aligned with Brennan's plans, or is there a part of him that questions whether Josslyn is being used for something more sinister? And if he does have doubts, will he act on them before it's too late? As tensions rise and the truth begins to unravel, Port Charles is about to be caught in the middle of a battle for control. Josslyn, once a young woman determined to carve out her own path, is now standing at the crossroads of a dangerous game where every decision could have irreversible consequences. Brennan's calculations are unfolding perfectly, but Josslyn is no ordinary recruit. She is a fighter, and if she senses that she is being played, she may be the one to turn the tables. With Vaughn enforcing Brennan's vision, Carly and Jason preparing for a confrontation, and Josslyn struggling to hold on to her sense of self, the situation is about to reach its breaking point. The battle for Josslyn's future has begun, and the fallout will leave no one untouched. Brook Lynn has finally reached her breaking point. After weeks of carrying the weight of her secrets, the mounting pressure has become too much to bear. The truth about Joe's identity has been lingering just beneath the surface, threatening to upend everything she has worked so hard to protect. And now, with the walls closing in and the people she loves demanding answers, Brook Lynn has no choice but to confess. The revelation sends shockwaves through Port Charles, igniting a firestorm of emotions and confrontations that no one saw coming. Dante, who had always sensed that something was being kept from him, is left completely blindsided. The realization that Brook Lynn kept such a life-altering secret from him shakes him to his core. He is no stranger to betrayal, but this is different. This is his child, a truth that was hidden from him for years. His world is turned upside down, and the anger, confusion, and pain bubbling beneath the surface explode in ways even Brook Lynn wasn't prepared for. Meanwhile, Chase, who thought he knew everything about Brook Lynn's past, is left reeling. He had come to terms with the fact that she had given up a child when she was younger, but he never imagined that Dante was the father. Now, their entire relationship is being called into question. Was she ever truly honest with him? Or was she always holding something back, afraid of what the truth would mean for their future? And then there's Lois, Brook Lynn's mother, who has always fought to protect her daughter but now finds herself at the center of a storm that threatens to shatter their family. She had always feared that the truth would come out, that the careful balance they had tried to maintain would crumble. Now, as the secrets unravel, she is faced with the terrifying possibility that Joe's true parents will be exposed and that the stability he has known could be ripped away from him forever. As the dust settles, the question remains, what happens now? Dante is struggling to process the truth, unsure of what his next move should be. Chase is grappling with his own sense of betrayal, wondering if he and Brook Lynn can ever truly recover from this. Lois is trying to hold everything together, desperate to protect Gio from the fallout. And Brook Lynn, the one who set everything into motion, is left wondering if she has lost everything she once held dear. But the chaos is far from over. With the truth finally out, the battle over Joe's future is just beginning. Will Dante fight for custody, demanding the chance to be a father to the son he never knew he had? Will Brook Lynn and Chase find a way to rebuild what has been broken? And most importantly, how will Gio handle the truth when he learns that his entire life has been built on a lie? Port Charles is about to witness one of the most intense custody battles in its history, and with emotions running high, the fallout from Brook Lynn's confession will leave no one unscathed. The past has finally caught up with her, and now, she must face the consequences of the choices she made. Whether this will lead to redemption or complete devastation remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, nothing will ever be the same again. Jason is about to go head-to-head with Valentin in a high-stakes battle that will push both men to their limits. The tension between them has been building for weeks, but now, with Charlotte at the center of their conflict, everything is about to reach a boiling point. What started as a quiet pursuit has now erupted into an all-out war, one that will have lasting consequences for both men and for Port Charles itself. The situation takes an unexpected turn when Charlotte makes a shocking demand, one that neither Jason nor Valentin saw coming. For so long, others have been making decisions about her life, treating her as a pawn in a much larger game. But Charlotte is done being controlled. She wants agency over her own fate, and her request will force both Jason and Valentin to reevaluate their next moves. Is she asking for freedom? Is she choosing a side? Or does she have her own hidden agenda that neither of them anticipated? As this new wrinkle in the story unfolds, the stakes are raised even higher. Jason, determined to fulfill his promise to Anna and Lulu, refuses to back down. He sees Valentin as a direct threat, someone who has manipulated and controlled Charlotte for too long. But Valentin isn't just going to let Jason take her without a fight. He sees himself as the only one truly capable of protecting his daughter, and he will do whatever it takes to keep her by his side. The battle between these two powerful forces is more than just a personal vendetta, it's about control, loyalty, and the lengths they are willing to go for the people they love. Jason operates with cold precision, always one step ahead, always ready for the fight. Valentin, on the other hand, is unpredictable, dangerous, and more than willing to bend the rules to secure a victory. The result is an explosive showdown, with both men willing to risk everything to come out on top. But just as the fight between Jason and Valentin intensifies, a new revelation sends shockwaves through Port Charles. Someone else has been pulling the strings in the background, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The battle for Charlotte may not just be between Jason and Valentin, there may be another player in the game, one who could change everything. Meanwhile, the fallout from Charlotte's request is felt throughout the city. Anna, still struggling with her own doubts, is forced to take a side. Lulu, desperate to be reunited with her daughter, is racing against time to ensure that the right decision is made. And as Jason and Valentin continue to clash, their actions set off a chain reaction that threatens to destroy everything they've built. One thing is clear, Charlotte's fate is no longer just a matter of guardianship. It's about power, loyalty, and the choices that will shape the future. With Jason and Valentin locked in a battle that neither of them can afford to lose, the entire city is about to feel the impact of their war. And when the dust finally settles, nothing will ever be the same again. Sonny is deep in thought, carefully calculating his next move as the tides in Port Charles shift in ways he hadn't anticipated. He has been in this position before, sensing a growing threat, preparing for the inevitable battle, but this time, things feel different. Sidwell is not just another enemy looking to claim power. He is methodical, ruthless, and working in the shadows, pulling strings that could unravel everything Sonny has built. And worse yet, Sonny knows that Sidwell is playing a long game, slowly tightening his grip, making calculated moves that could push Sonny into a dangerous position. But Sonny is no stranger to power struggles, and he refuses to be cornered. He has spent years staying ahead of his enemies, ensuring his dominance through strategy, loyalty, and sheer force when necessary. Sidwell may think he has an advantage, but Sonny is already making plans, setting things into motion to strike first before the enemy can make his next move. Just as Sonny is preparing his counterattack, Natalia drops a bombshell that changes everything. Her confession is not just an emotional revelation, it is a game changer, something that shakes Sonny to his core. Up until now, Natalia had been his refuge, a relationship free from the usual chaos of his world. But now, the lines between business and personal are blurring, and Sonny is forced to reconsider everything he thought he knew about her. The weight of Natalia's revelation hangs heavy in the air. Is she connected to Sidwell in a way she hadn't disclosed? Is this about something from her past coming back to haunt her? Or has she simply been hiding a truth that, while not directly betraying Sonny, still puts them both at risk? Sonny can feel the shift happening, the moment where trust becomes fragile, where emotions threaten to disrupt the carefully laid out battle plans he has been working on. For a man like Sonny, betrayal, whether intentional or not, isn't something he takes lightly. He has built his empire on trust, on knowing exactly who stands beside him and who would dare to cross him. If Natalia's confession suggests even the slightest bit of deception, there will be consequences. But if she is merely revealing something painful, something she was afraid to share, Sonny knows that walking away from her may be the biggest mistake he could make. As he grapples with this revelation, the timing couldn't be worse. Sidwell is making his own power moves, securing his place in Port Charles, ensuring that when the moment comes, he will have complete control. Sonny knows he cannot afford to hesitate. Waiting too long to act would be just as dangerous as making the wrong move. He needs to strike first, to remind Sidwell that he is not a man who can be pushed aside. But Sonny has learned from past mistakes, he knows he cannot fight this war alone. With Jason preoccupied, he needs to gather his allies, ensuring that when he makes his move, it is swift, precise, and decisive. Carly, always the sharp strategist, begins to notice the shift in Sonny's demeanor and knows something is brewing beneath the surface. She has seen him like this before, the quiet, controlled rage, the ruthless focus. She knows that when Sonny reaches this point, someone is about to pay. The question now is, will Natalia be on Sonny's side when the dust settles, or has her confession pushed her away from him for good? Sonny is no longer just preparing to take on Sidwell, he is preparing for a war that could redefine his place in Port Charles. And with emotions running high and trust in question, this fight is no longer just about business. It's about loyalty, love, and the choices that will shape the future. As tensions reach their breaking point, Port Charles is about to witness one of the most explosive battles in recent memory. Sidwell may believe he is in control, but Sonny Corinthos has spent his entire life proving that when he is backed into a corner, he comes out fighting harder than ever. The only question left is, when the war is over, who will be left standing by Sonny's side? And will Natalia's confession push him to act in ways even he never saw coming? One thing is certain, this is just the beginning, and when Sonny makes his move, there will be no turning back.